You're in the 06010. Fantasy Focus.
What's good, friends? Alongside Liz Loza and Field Yates. Hello, Field Yates.
Delay game on the offense.
Oh, okay, that's what was going on.
Automatic first down, fantasy focus.
That's amazing. My name's Daniel Dopp. Yeah, you know, I'll tell you what, this is how it works. I didn't realize, I don't know if
he was granting wishes.
Yeah. No, I'm just calling the delay of game on us, and I can't even speak, so perfect day to do a podcast.
Yeah. This is going to be a very fun day, obviously. Today, we're doing a mock draft. In case you guys did not listen to the show yesterday, we decided, why not get a good ranker in here? And so we decided to kick Mike out,
guys.
and we added Liz Loza.
I always am a little nervous that Mike is going to be upset with me because you tend to make this comparison, and I am not asking for it. Mike, I think you're wonderful. We know that.
Mike is
incredible
wonderful.
ranker.
He's
amongst
so
other
good.
things.
He does all the projections here. Our game would not exist without Mike Clay, so please know that we love him incessantly.
This is, I actually find that there are a decent amount of wrestling fans in the world of fantasy football as well.
Yep.
One of the things about being a professional wrestler, and I was watching the Unreal documentary on Netflix, it's basically a behind-the-scenes look at how the WWE operates, is that what makes a good heel, and for those unfamiliar with wrestling lingo, a heel is a bad guy in wrestling, right? Babyface is a good guy. Anyways, the heel is the guy who is willing to basically, like, what matters most in wrestling is not whether it's positive or negative. It's, are you getting a reaction and attention?
Correct.
And that to me is like, Mike is so ironclad in so many ways, including his capacity to just take the heat.
Unflappable.
Unflappable. So even if we give him a lot of grief, Mike Clay still motors on.
It's not just us. I feel like he does a really good job of channeling that energy in appropriate ways, because when he has like a crazy take, like, I don't know, let's say maybe he said yesterday, he wouldn't be surprised, or he wouldn't be as surprised as most if Jamar Chase finishes outside the top 20. I need people to listen to the whole thing, but good on him for not letting it get to you.
Yeah, totally.
All right, guys.
I hear that your energy is a luxury.
I hear that.
Incredible resource.
Where did you hear that from?
I mean, I might have stayed up late last night watching a different podcast.
Oh,
hey-o.
All right.
It was worth every single
It was
moment.
worth. All right. Well, if you know,
and all
you
of
know.
the concealer under my eyes right now.
We're going to dive into a 12-team mock draft today. We're going to do things a little bit differently. Normally, we do one running back, one quarterback. I got field going on right here.
You were watching the podcast too. You're tired. It's okay.
2 running backs and 2 wide receivers. Today, we're going to do 3 wide receivers, adding in a little extra depth at the pass catcher position. Still have a flex. And we're going to draft our first 3 bench spots as well. Today, the picks that we are going to have, Liz has pick 3. I have pick 7. And Fields, you are at the turn with pick 12. So that is going to be a ton of fun. We'll dive into that. But you know what else is also going to be a lot of fun? Going to the Bahamas with you beautiful people in just a couple of days. The ESPN Fantasy Football Ultimate Draft Weekend is back for year 2 from August 21st through the 24th in the Bahamas.
Hey, yo.
Enjoy an oceanfront stay at the luxurious Baha Mar Resort and exclusive events like our one-of-a-kind beach combine. You get to mingle with celebrity guests and NFL players throughout the weekend, including Todd Gurley, Golden Tate, and Kyle Rudolph. Then get insights from your favorite ESPN fantasy football experts. Liz Loza will be in attendance for all those wondering. So before you do that, you'll be able to ask us questions, and then we will be drafting your squad at our epic live draft party. The draft party was so much fun last year. It's going to be a ton of fun. I can't wait to see you guys there, and hopefully a bunch of our listeners there as well.
Shall we?
I think so.
Let's do it, baby.
Let's kick things off, especially because we started a little bit late. We're just going to dive right into the mock draft here.
We'll make up for it. Don't you worry, people.
All right.
We're burying the lead, by the way.
Tell me.
Thirsty Kyle Soppe is in the building
I know.
right now.
I didn't want to say anything until we got to the end. Thirsty Kyle, they used to sit in this studio when we did the podcast in the other studio a couple years ago, but he's sitting right off screen right now.
He's going to be judging our mock draft in real time.
Do you guys know why he's here?
I would hang out with Daniel.
Because I'm here.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes, he's fresh off of an episode of Facts versus Feelings.
Love it.
Go check it out if you haven't listened to that already.
Thank you.
Yes, that'll be a ton of fun. All right, we're going to kick things off with this mock draft. Our very first drafter is up on the clock. We'll see when this thing gets rolling here. But until then,
3 receivers. So again, 3 receivers to reiterate. So we may
does that change your strategy a little bit or not really, given how deep the position is?
It definitely does. I mean, it just means that, like, you know, in other mock drafts you've seen, I remember in one of our prior mock drafts, I walked away with James Cook as my flex, right? Far more likely that if I already have a couple of wide receivers and a couple of running backs filled out, round 5 or round 6, I might continue to lean into wide receiver. There's such great depth that lottery tickets are still going to give you some optimism. But yes, I will end up prioritizing wide receiver just a little bit more than normal in this draft.
We talked about this yesterday when I brought up Rashi Rice as one of the guys that I want to target. In a league like this, given that you have 3 wide receivers and a flex, does that push some of those question mark guys, him and maybe Jordan Addison, Chris Godwin, does that maybe push him down the board a little bit for you, knowing that you have an extra position that you're starting every week, or they kind of have the same value that you would in a 10-team league?
I mean,
Good question, by the way.
yeah, I think it is a good question. I think we're going to find
We're
out.
still waiting for a pick, by the way.
We are.
Someone's really
We are.
taking their time.
There we go.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right, Jamar Chase has been taken.
Big surprise. As far as the pass catchers, I want to make sure I don't miss my pick. So I'm going to let you.
Well, the good news is you have 24 hours to make it, Liz, so we'll alert you.
Yeah, you won't worry.
But my thought on that, Daniel, is yes. Like, we were talking about this yesterday. Like in a 10-team league, you can afford to take that risk on a Rashi Rice. Are we going Rashi or Rashi? You've been saying Rashi. Is that
I don't
how he
know. No,
pronounces it?
I have no idea. No,
Okay.
I might be saying it wrong.
I just wanted to make sure this wasn't a Bijan situation. I believe it's Rashi Rice.
It's Rashi and not Rashi? Okay.
Rashi, yes.
Rashi, all right.
So unless I have been gravely mistaken, Rashi Rice. Yes, 12-team league, so it's a little bit larger than we were talking about when we were doing our must-draft wide receivers.
Yep.
And then also, it's a 12-team league where 36 wide receivers are starting every single week. So
There's only
yes.
32 starting teams in the NFL.
Well, but with receivers, you have lots of teams, the Bengals, the Vikings, the Bears, who have notable wide receiver duos who could contribute in fantasy this season. The Lions, the list goes on and on and on.
Sure, sure.
So, yes, I do think we'll see a tiny bit of a discount, a tiny bit of a weight for those guys like Rashi Rice, like Chris Godwin, like Stephon Diggs, who are either coming off of an injury or have this question mark surrounding their availability for week 1. By the way, we're 3 weeks away?
3 weeks away.
The first game. 3 weeks away, 21 days. Wow.
So pumped for that. All right, first 2 picks were Jamar Chase and then Justin Jefferson. Liz, I feel like you just got gifted Bijan Robinson at 3.
Absolutely. I mean, I believe that whoever was the second drafter certainly took your valuing wide receivers a little bit more strategy into play. I'm happy to take Bijan. Also, because we have talked at length about the amount of depth at wide receiver. So right now it doesn't feel like in fact, maybe does that make running back a little bit more scarce?
It could. I mean, it depends on, I feel like in a 12-team league, I am more apt to take a running back early than a wide receiver.
You and I like that anchor RB strategy,
Correct.
and
That
that's
is how
not
we're
changing
approaching.
in a 10-team or a 12-team or a 3 wide receiver plus flex league.
I'm currently tweeting the link to the show right now, so I'm
Perfect.
dialed in on that. So you guys,
I'm going to keep
Good
on going. Fields, you're going to pick
conversation
at the end of the round. So you're
I
going
got
to
time. I'm just hanging.
After Bijan came Saquon Barkley, then Jahmyr Gibbs and CeeDee Lamb off the clock. I'm now on the clock at 7. A couple options I have in front of me: Christian McCaffrey, Puka Nacua, Malik Neighbors, Amon-Ra St. Brown, or Ashton Genty. I'm going to go with the running back that I have been drafting all off season, and that will be Christian McCaffrey.
I'm starting to pick up on your tendencies.
Yeah. Yeah,
Starting to
I like some of the
picking up
guys.
what you're putting down.
I got to be honest, towards the back half of the first round, if I can still get CMC or Ashton Genty, even though I love all of these wide receivers, I'm kind of defaulting that way because I feel like I can likely get a Brian Thomas or maybe a Nico Collins or someone on the back end in the second. So we'll see how that plays out here, but I ended up going Christian McCaffrey. Malik Neighbors comes off the board yet. No one really surprising so far. It's just like a pretty average first round of a draft.
I don't think you're going to see too much surprise here on this show with our mock drafts early.
No.
I think rounds 3 and 4 might get in.
That's where you start to see some things, be a little bit
and
different.
preferences.
Yeah, absolutely. So after that, I took Christian McCaffrey, then it was Malik Neighbors, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Derrick Henry comes off the board before Ashton Genty, maybe the first surprise that we're going to see today.
A little bit, yeah. All right, so I'm on the clock here at pick number 12, and again, it's 3 wide receivers. So you're sitting there saying to yourself, and a reminder when you're picking on the extremes, the ends, you have to make decisions understanding that if you really want a player, you better bet on that player not being available when you pick the next time around.
Yep.
I'm just doing a little bit of math here. Right
Do a little bit of calculating. We really need Mike Clay here for this.
I do appreciate that point, though, because sometimes we talk about letting value fall to you and you should just take the best player on the board. But sometimes you do need to reach because of your draft slot. And so I feel like all of this draft strategy forces us to talk out of both sides of our mouths a little bit.
So I just, by the way, made my 2 picks. And again, it's a 3 receiver draft. So a little bit more emphasis on wide receivers in this draft. That being said, there's also not very many good running backs once you get past like the first, 20 or so. And when you're looking at who could be available at, let's call it somewhere at pick 36 and 37 for me, which would be my round 3 and round 4 selections. Then you're talking about like a potential major drop at running back. So what I did is I split the atom a little bit. I took Puka Nacua at 12 and I took Devon Achane at 13.
It feels like you got a little bit of a value on Puka given people's maybe fear of the Stafford back injury.
So,
Does that bother you? Are you adjusting?
Not there yet. I'm really trusting the lead of like, first of all, Sean McVay, and I know Stefania would agree with this, is amongst the most transparent coaches in the NFL with his injury updates.
Yep.
Shefty has been pretty consistent as well. Like if the Rams had to play a game soon, I think they would expect Matthew Stafford to be there. I'll just say this. I get it. He's old. What's the old expression too? Like no one used to have a bad back.
Yeah.
Nobody ever used to have a bad back.
Yeah.
This dude is tough as crap. Like, I mean, Daniel, of course, you recall the legendary moments throughout his Detroit career where
that Browns
Stafford
game
found a way, dislocated shoulder.
Motor
I
City tough.
cried into Daniel's arms on the beach when I did that to mine. Matthew Stafford was like, let me keep playing football because I'm a beast. So yes, Stafford, I'm betting on him being available for week 1.
I agree with you there. I have not decided to move either of these Rams wide receiver down my board yet. All right, so you went Puka and Devon Achane. Next one's off the board, Brian Thomas Jr., Drake London, A.J. Brown. Man, I'm hoping one of these wide receivers are going to fall to me. And then Brock Bowers. I'm back on the clock, and I had Nico Collins fall to me all the way to pick 18. That is the guy that I know Thirsty Kyle Soppe has been in on all offseason. So for me to get Christian McCaffrey and Nico Collins right now, first 2 rounds of a 12-team league, I'm thrilled with that, man. I'm pumped right now.
By the way, Dave Presley, one of our producers on our show, he gets credit because he is like every time we're in one of these mocks, he loves to throw some curveballs our way. He does 2, and he was the one that did not take Bijan. So shout out Dave for always being ahead of the curve with you're good for the content.
Yes. After I took Nico Collins, my guy Chase Brown came off the board ahead of Josh Jacobs, ahead of Bucky Irving.
Did you think about him?
Ahead of Jonathan Taylor. I did not think about him there just because I had already grabbed a running back and Christian
Is that
McCaffrey.
Dave who was also picking on that one?
Probably
Oh.
was.
Well,
All right.
I'm on the clock now,
Yeah, you are.
and I need a wide receiver 1, but there's Trey McBride available if I want to invest in an island position.
Yeah, Brock Bowers already off the board. We've already cracked the seal on the island position of tight end.
Yeah, I think I want to also throw a curveball here,
Yeah, do it.
and I'm going to completely eschew what we talked about in the beginning and take another running back, and I'm going to take Bucky Irving.
Did you just say completely shoe?
Eschew?
Eschew.
What is
Eschew. Is that a French shoe?
a shoe?
No, it means step aside, walk around.
Oh, okay, got it. If you could use smaller words on the show for the rest of the day, that would be great for us, Liz. All right, so you decided to go that route.
Yeah.
I love it. Bucky Irving, Josh Allen came off the board just before that, and then Kyron Williams. I mean, I'm a little bit surprised Josh Jacobs is still on the board here at the end of the second round.
I'm not as high as everyone
On
else.
Josh?
No, I feel like the workload last year was so intense, and obviously Marshawn Lloyd's durability issues have been helping him, we would assume, continue to eat, but I'm just worried about a breakdown, honestly.
I felt that way, and then I remembered that when he played for the Raiders, it felt like they just did the exact same thing. I mean, didn't they just always give him a huge
His efficiency dipped considerably from that first year with the Raiders, where he handled that 300-plus workload to the second year.
I got to be honest with you. You're holding up the honor of the Mike Clay seat right now.
That's right.
I did the research. Like I worked the numbers. I looked at the data.
We've heard that before. All right. Nothing wrong with that,
So when
Liz.
you find the data and you work it, it's like this amazing. I feel like Sherlock Holmes. Like I was like, oh my gosh, I found this. That's my favorite thing about being an analyst. Honestly, is the gumshoeing of it. But I'm
Josh
on.
Jacobs is available when you're on the clock, by the way.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you took Bucky Irving.
take
Since
him.
then, it was Kyron Williams, Trey McBride, Ladd McConkey, and T.
Young
Higgins.
lad?
I did not take Ladd. So Ladd went just before T. Higgins, who I was hoping I might get a shot at, and I am going to now draft Devontae Adams.
Whoa!
Hey.
Okay, the fall for Josh Jacobs continues here into the fourth
I already
round.
had 2 running backs.
Okay, well, if you already have 2 running backs, then I guess that makes a little bit more sense. Maybe you're not the one. I got to tell you, if he
Not the
falls to
one.
me here in a couple of picks, I'm ending this slide. Rashi Rice comes off the board already as well. That
It's got to be a
feels
Dave pick.
that feels a little early given all of the uncertainty around
It is
suspension.
early. Like,
However,
this is early. Like, let's just call it what it is. He's a great
Great
talent.
wide receiver.
And you might see, but if he's back in week 7, then you might be talking about a guy who by week 8 or 9 we're ranking as a top 5 wide receiver.
Yep.
But during the fantasy football regular season, you're getting 7 weeks without Rashi Rice, most likely. 6 for the suspension plus his bye week in week 12.
Yep.
So that's a lot of time to miss.
It's a lot of time. A lot of time. Wide receiver is the deepest position to be able to help fill it in. However, in a 12-team league and in a 3 wide receiver league, it makes it even tougher from that position.
Dave, by the way. Look at that.
I got to make a decision here. The guys that are staring me in the face right now, Tyreek Hill, and then all the running backs, James Cook, maybe Kenneth Walker. Feels a little early for Kenneth Walker. And a couple of quarterbacks. If I want to go that route, I think I'm going to take Tyreek Hill, though.
Yeah,
I was just wondering when that slide. Are you also a little bit worried about Tyreek Hill entering his age 31 season?
I'm not
off of last year's dip.
Not worried, if I can say that, but I'm not worried enough that I wouldn't buy what I feel like is the value. It kind of feels like his ADP has appropriately settled coming off of what was a really difficult season last year, and the fact that he is another year older. I mean, his game is predicated on speed, right? Doing all the things that he needs. He needs to be Tyreek Hill.
We were in that 10-1 this offseason, right?
And the absence of Jonnu Smith should help fix any of the volume concerns that I don't actually think are concerns.
You know, one of the sentences I never thought someone would say in 2025.
Say it again.
The absence of Jonnu Smith will mean that Tyreek Hill can go back to the value we thought he was.
That is. You've heard. I mean, I feel like in our people are like, well, what about Tyreek's volume? I was like, I don't think Tyreek Hill is a quiet gentleman. I don't think he's a very. I don't think that he's
squeaky wheel. Maybe
it's getting the grease.
Yeah, I like it. I agree with that.
I'm on the clock again here at the end of round 3. A reminder: I took Devon Achane and Puka Nacua with my first and second round picks, which means I still have 2 more wide receiver spots to fill out in my starting lineup.
Oh, you just had a huge quarterback run too, right before your pick.
Room, right before me, and a reminder that again, picking on the extremes, I have to expect that a lot of the guys that are near the top of my queue right now will be way gone by the time I pick next. So I'm going to do little Kenneth Walker III, who I do like, and George Kittle, because there's zero, negative, zero. Is that a word? Negative zero?
Negative zero.
Negative 100% chance he'll be anywhere close to available when I pick next. So George Kittle fills up my tight end spot. I'm going to lean into the wide receiver depth here. I'm sort of bucking my own advice from earlier on in the podcast, where it's like,
yes.
Well, Liz, you know what? The reality is the best draft strategy is to be dynamic.
Well, I hear you have to zig when other people zag.
Yes, yeah, I've heard that as well. All right, so just a quick recap. I took Tyreek Hill. After that, James Cook, then Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, and Jalen Hurts. That little quarterback run I just mentioned before Fields' pick. Field took Kenneth Walker III and George Kittle, and then Omarion Hampton, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Alvin Kamara off the board. We've got one more spot until I am on the clock, back at pick 7 of the 4th round. Garrett Wilson comes off the board, and now I'm kind of in that spot where the wide receiver, this is where it starts to not feel as great. Right? Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans, DK Metcalf, different tier of wide receivers. The running backs that are here, Chuba Hubbard, James Conner, Breece Hall, different kind of tier at the running back spot. Because I would have taken George Kittle had he come here to me at this point. I would have grabbed that tight end so I could have one of the top 3 guys, but Field, because he grabbed him, I think I'm going to go a different direction and take what is the last quarterback of my tier 1 positions and go with Joe Burrow here.
Hey,
I'm going to just lock up that position and decide I'm going to grab a guy that I believe is going to lead his offense to another season where they're having to average over 30 points a game because they're just going to have to throw the ball.
Very different than your strategy on Tuesday during the televised mock.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you're shaking it up. This is what mocking is for. We can find new strategies. We can discover new things that we hadn't thought of.
And everything.
Yeah, you go.
Everything is different with every draft because it's like sometimes you just get lucky that the right person falls to you. I felt like Damian Woody. I don't want to say got lucky, but like he pounced on value with guys falling to him in that draft. And sometimes, sometimes it just happens.
YouTube poll, can we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Or question, however you guys want to tee this up to the YouTube chat. Is Joe Burrow part of the tier 1 of quarterbacks or no? Mike is more of the mind that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, meaning
top 4
in some order: Lamar, Josh, Jaden, Jalen, and Joe Burrow's the next tier. You and I have both been more of like tier 1. Liz,
I also think that Joe Burrow is the first quarterback in the second
tier. Okay, got it. Okay. Chat, thoughts on that?
Yeah, you
Tier
are.
1 or tier 2?
She is absolutely channeling inner Mike Clay in that seat. Is what's
Well,
happening.
I'm not right now.
Well, my OTD for this. My OTD for this guy.
So I decided to go running back, and not really care about the wide receiver, thinking I'd have more depth. And now I'm in a position where Chuba Hubbard, James Conner, Breece Hall are all available, and the next wide receiver would be DK Metcalf, DJ Moore, Xavier Worthy, who Taylor Swift was very excited that the Chiefs drafted.
Of course.
People weren't aware. So I kind of feel, if I'm being like transparent,
Please.
in an educationally appropriate way, I maybe messed up. Like, I maybe should have taken a wide receiver. And this is sometimes what happens. Like, well, I don't know. I could have taken Breece Hall here and stacked my wide receiver position a little bit better. But
That's the way drafts work sometimes.
I'm not worried about the fact that
Sounds like you're worried.
I'm a little bit worried.
Sounds like you're worried.
I'm a
Your
little
words
bit
say one
worried.
thing. I feel a different thing, though.
I'm going to. So, shoot, I'm going to take DK Metcalf, but I actually wanted to take DJ Moore, but decided not to do that. There is this emotional connection to Rome Odunze because I believe in the breakout. Probably might have been a little bit more smart to take DJ Moore, but I decided to go with Metcalf and play with my heart a little.
Can I share a story right now?
Yes,
Sure, what
please.
just happened?
Daniel just passed me his phone, and he was like, look into my camera right now, because I had a gigantic booger in my nose.
Oh, well, it just
is that
happened.
what I was like?
It
What is
just
happening
happened.
right now?
So I got it taken care of.
I
Thank
was
you,
waiting
Daniel.
until we went to a one shot of Liz. I didn't want people to know, but I appreciate you, buddy.
I didn't know. Brand new
Also,
director's like,
I
why
thought you
say
guys
anything?
were like, she made a really bad pick.
No, that was not it. No.
So-
Daniel didn't.
Just
he
looking out
wouldn't
for my
pick it
friend.
me, but he was looking out for me.
That's
so.
right.
That's sweet.
Dude, I've got a 3 and a 2-year-old. There's nothing gross to me right now. Nothing.
Nothing. That's just not how it works. When you
That's
have
not
little
how
kids
it
like
works.
that.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So you decide
Go
to
eat some sand. That would be like a Wednesday. That's what we do on Wednesdays.
Liz went with DK Metcalf.
Now I'm gonna have to eat it again
Sand
because no, not
Not
sand.
sand.
My words, crow, if you will. DJ Moore is still available, and I am going to have to draft him, and I'm excited about it. And I feel
You
like
don't
he
sound
is
excited
under.
about it.
It does
This is
sound-
the part of fantasy football. Like, your brain says to the fact is that DJ Moore is going to enter the season as the Bears wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
But my heart,
Feelings. Yeah.
my feelings
Yes.
want Roma Dunze to unlock this alpha status. Yet, if I am channeling my inner Mike Clay, I am staying present from the neck up and allowing the value of DJ Moore to fall to me.
All right. So after I'm going to recap a couple of these picks, Liz, you ended up going with.
Actually, it's fire. My draft is fire right
Your draft
now. Go
is
ahead.
fire. That's right.
Like, I love it.
So you took DK Metcalf, then Xavier Worthy, Breece Hall, James Conner, Chuba Hubbard came off the board.
By the way,
You decided to go with DJ Moore, and then Jared Goff
let's go.
ahead of Baker Mayfield
Who
or
did
Patrick Mahomes. That was not my pick.
Who is this agent of chaos?
And then Baker
Blair,
Mayfield.
who's new to the staff, by the way. Shout out to Blair. Welcome
Shout
to
out
the
to you,
Fantasy
Blair.
Focus family. And I like it. I don't know if Blair's from Detroit or anything, but I like it.
I like a little spiciness.
He's showing some respect to Daniel Dopp.
All right, so then Calvin Ridley comes off the board. I'm on the clock. Couple guys that I'm looking at here. Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift. I'm not looking at Joe Mixon. He's just the guy at the top of the board, but I'm very likely passing on him. DeAndre Swift, Zay Flowers, Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle. We got a nice little tiering of wide receivers here. I think I'm actually going to go with DeAndre Swift. He's the next highest running back that I have on my board. I love the potential of him in this Ben Johnson-led offense.
Yep.
I don't think he's going to be Jahmyr Gibbs light, but I do believe given the production that we have seen from him in other offenses, I don't have a lot of fear in Roshan Johnson
Okay.
or Kyle Monungai stealing huge amounts of volume from him. So as an RB2 here in the 5th round,
Okay.
I'm going to lack up DeAndre Swift.
And then JMO went one pick after you. Were you thinking about JMO?
We have a bunch of Michigan people in this league right now. I feel like I'm drafting in our Michigan men league back home
I
field.
think that it would be, I feel like my general rule of life is that if you have more people from Michigan on your team, you're in better shape.
I mean, they were the highest scoring offense in football last year.
There's
they
a
had
spicy one from
lot of
pick
points.
10. Our guy Rafa out there in LA took Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp comes off way early. Love that. Okay.
Rafa might have been but again, Rafa's picking at whatever pick 11 or something, so you have to do it. I'm up. I've already taken 2 running backs, so I need a flex spot.
Where are your 2 running backs, Field?
My 2 running backs are Devon Achane and Kenneth Walker III.
Okay.
I
Solid call.
believe.
Yep. And then you got Puka Nacua and George Kittle. Love that.
I'll tell you what I'm doing right now. I'm drafting favorite wide receivers, Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, you talked about him the last time we drafted too.
And you know what else I'm doing?
Don't do it.
Trevion Henderson. Why not?
Oh, you're doing it.
I've already got 2 running backs, so he'll be a flex option. But this is to illustrate that ADP data throughout the month of August is so subject to change. He went 40th in our TV mock.
Yeah, he did.
Graz took him with the final pick of the 4th round the other night, which I'm a big Trevion Henderson guy. It feels like every day you're reading something about how he's just looking clearly like the Patriots' most explosive offensive player.
Yeah.
Like regardless of running back, tight end, wide receiver. So good things continue to happen on the Trevion Henderson front. More thoughts on him because he definitely has become a draft crush. He's just, he's a really explosive player who I don't think will handle 20 carries a game. But if he gets 12 to 15, find that sweet spot of a number of opportunities, could have a big impact.
And it definitely just feels like he's one of those rookies that towards the second half of the season, if things go the way that we
Irving
think.
style, right?
Exactly. Like you're kind of buying some of that. So since that pick, Field, you went Jalen Waddle and Trevion Henderson. Then TJ Hawkinson comes off the board. Then Sam Laporta, Joe Mixon, and Aaron Jones. I am bummed because I wanted one of those 2 tight ends to fall to me right here, and neither of them did. So back on the clock for me, I'm probably going to go with a wide receiver here because I already have 2 running backs. My wide receivers, as a reminder, are Nico Collins and Tyreek Hill, and I believe that I'm going to go with George Pickens here, my friends.
Pick. I was there goes my cue. So it's interesting.
I'm so sorry about that.
I had both of those tight ends that you mentioned, Hawkinson and Laporta. It is interesting that Hawkinson went 1 spot ahead of Laporta because
Agreed.
that is different than our consensus rankings.
Yep.
And then I also had George Pickens next in my queue. So we are on a similar wavelength. Not to be
not
too
unsurprising
shocked by that, right?
Yep.
There's some other depth here. I'm okay with this.
Yeah, you're going to have it. You got 3 more picks until we come back to you, and you're going to have a handful of people to be able to choose from.
There goes Rome. That's fine.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Do you have a quarterback already, Liz?
I do not.
You do not. Is that something that you would likely target here? Or at this point, if you didn't get one of your top guys, are you just going to maybe wait at the position? Okay.
No, I'm waiting. I'm probably going to wait until round 8 to 10.
We'll see. We'll see where the value falls.
We'll just say it out loud. If you guys are going to snipe me, then it's a good lesson anyway.
Yeah.
It's a good lesson in staying nimble. Oh, I'm on the clock in 1 pick.
All right, so Roma Dunze came off the board. Then RJ Harvey.
Mm-hmm.
I like that one right there.
Yeah.
You know why? And you know what? Hold on. Table that thought. We call this tease in the business. We have a big running back heavy show tomorrow that I'll dive into why I like RJ Harvey more.
Ooh, I like that. Yep. I like it, Field. All right. It'll be interesting to see. I feel like, again, this is that spot where you start having to make some decisions based on your roster construction. And David Njoku comes off the board now. I think people are starting to feel this like tight end squeeze. So it's like, let me get the last little bit of this position.
But this is what happens, right? This is when you sort of freak out and you're like, oh no, I don't have a tight end. I think you have to woo-saw through this. And now I am able to snag one of my favorite rookies in this year's class, Teteroa McMillan.
Ooh.
I think he's going to be beast. I love the chemistry that he and Bryce Young have been establishing and displaying over camp. I'm really high on him. I think you also believe him to be quite a talented X option.
Who was the name again?
Teteroa McMillan.
Teteroa McMillan. Yeah, I agree on that. I got distracted for a moment there. I was admiring my team, which I don't even know if I like it that much. I'm a big fan of Teteroa McMillan. Big fan.
You got so many. The problem with picking 12, Field, is sometimes you can accidentally disappear in the middle of drafts while you're like looking stuff up because you're like, I've got 25 picks until it gets back to me.
I mean, my mom texted me. And
okay, well, that's
very
different.
Nice of her, yeah.
Field's got boogers. He's got his mom blowing up his phone.
That's so cute.
It is a Thursday for you, friend.
Hey.
All right, well, since we took Teteroa McMillan, Jerry Jeudy comes off the board. Then Patrick Mahomes finally comes off here in the 7th round. And then Travis Hunter, one of those guys that we have had a lot of differing opinions on. Even chat has gone back and forth as to whether or not they would draft him or not. For what it's worth, I do want to say this a little bit earlier on in the show. 61% of our YouTube chat does, in fact, believe that Joe Burrow is a tier 1 quarterback.
61% of the chat?
They know ball. Yeah, that's
ball.
right.
That's right.
All right, Liz Loza back on the clock, and Travis Kelce comes off the board right before you. Again, feeling that tight end squeeze, you're just going to keep waiting at the position at this point?
Yeah, Brenton Strange probably isn't getting drafted. And
not until
I don't
you
mind
take
a
him.
stream. I don't mind a stream. Also, my boy Chig is probably going to be available, so I'm never sweating the tight end position. I don't mind streaming it if I have to. It'll be a headache, but that is part of the job of managing a team. I think I'd like to add some running back depth here, and I'm going to add Tony Pollard. He only had 5 rushing touchdowns last year. But with the Tajay Spears injury, I think that Pollard should at least start hot. And then, that a week 2 problem will happen in week 2.
That's right. Yeah, we'll figure it out once you get there. Okay.
You know what I think about Tony Pollard?
I like Tony Pollard this year.
Boring, but good.
Yeah.
That's it.
I don't know why I emphasize the boring more than the good part. But yeah, I mean,
that allows for value.
That's why he's going in round 7 as opposed to, round 5 or 4 or 5.
Yeah.
He seems on paper in line for close to 300 touches once again.
Honestly, and in this offense, it does feel like if he's going to touch the ball that much, I almost don't care that it's a rookie quarterback or trying to figure out the offense. At this point, you're not going to find very many running backs that will just have the sheer volume that he's going to get.
I described him this way previously. He's a great RB3.
Yes.
You need him to fill in because your player's on a bye or banged up. Awesome. Would you love to be starting Tony Pollard in a lineup that doesn't have also dominant wide receivers or a great quarterback or tight end? Probably not in the playoffs, but totally useful. He's a great innings eater during the season.
So,
are you so disappointed?
Well, I'm disappointed because David freaking Presley decided to draft David freaking Montgomery right before I was on the clock. I was going to grab him as my 3rd running back here. I recognize it would technically be a flex position. A couple of wide receivers I have in front of me. Chris Godwin, probably going to wait there. Yeah. Jacoby Myers, Stephon Diggs, Matthew Golden, Jordan Addison. There's some question marks there. Okay. You know what? I'm going to go with a 3rd running back. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be Isaiah Pacheco.
Love it.
Like that one a lot.
Yep.
I'm in on buying the dip on Isaiah Pacheco. I don't think he was fully healthy once he came back from that broken fibula last year. I think he kind of leaned down, lost some of that mass that he needs for that angry running style. And they did not add anyone this year in the backfield that makes me super nervous. It's still a Patrick Mahomes-led offense, and I think that they're going to be in the near the goal line a lot.
His first 2 weeks of the season, I believe he cleared 16 fantasy points, including in the game in which he was injured.
Yeah.
So, I think of Stephania a lot because he did probably come back from injury too soon for real football reasons.
Correct.
And
they were trying to win a Super Bowl. They wanted to kind of bring him back, see what they had.
Exactly. And so he wasn't efficient. He absolutely struggled, but now he's been healthy, and we have to start a new slate.
I think that, last year we were looking at him as a top 12 to 15 running back. Right now, you're able to get him as a top 25
RB1
running back.
year.
I think you're still getting really good value on Isaiah Pacheco. So, since Pacheco came off the board, we got Jacoby Myers, Tyrone Tracy, J.K. Dobbins, and Ricky Pearsall fields Yates. And now you're on the clock for 2 to close out the 7th and start the 8th.
Okay, here we go. Chris Godwin is amongst the players that are notably available at the wide receiver spot right here. Again, certainly feels like there's a chance that Chris Godwin's going to have to wait to begin the season.
Yep.
And in this case, because I myself have waited at wide receiver, I'm going to double dip at wide receiver, but it's not going to be including Chris Godwin. I'm going to go with Matthew Golden.
Yep.
Nice pick.
Okay.
And Stephon Diggs.
I had a feeling.
Golden continues to trend upward. I got 2 Patriots right now. Ooh, interesting. Golden continues to trend up. We've talked about him a lot recently. Yesterday was a good example of such. The Packers are so banged up at wide receiver, and maybe the Packers think there's an equitable stance or an equitable approach at wide receiver that makes the most sense, and you get some, and you get some, and you get some, and you get some. But it does feel like this was a much different offseason approach from Green Bay, who famously, of course, has not taken a wide receiver or had not taken a wide receiver in the first round since Javon Walker, back in 2004. So you break a 21-year streak and take a player 22nd overall. Good enough for me to use my, I guess in this case, the very first pick of the 9th round, last pick of the 8th round on Matthew Golden.
Couple of running backs come off the board right after that field. Jalen Warren and then Cam Scadaboo ahead of Caleb Johnson. How do you feel about Cam Scadaboo ahead of Caleb Johnson here?
So I'm not going to skewer the pick by any stretch. It seems like, and I'm following the reporting here, including that from the great Jordan Renan, who covers the Giants here for us at ESPN. He has definitely been leaning towards Tyrone Tracy having the job. I tend to think, though, that when you take a guy in the 4th round and the only competition in the backfield is Tyrone Tracy, 5th round pick last year?
Yep.
But eventually both of these guys are going to be on the field a decent. Eventually, right? It's not like I don't expect Tyrone Tracy to have the job to start the season and dominate 80-20 in terms of percentage of touches for the entirety of the year. We talked about some of the warning signs with Caleb Johnson yesterday. Didn't seem like this guy's been having a great preseason, but he probably has a bigger role out of the gates than Cam Scadaboo does. The upside of Scadaboo, though, I do think is superior to Caleb Johnson's upside.
Interesting.
My worry about either of the New York running backs is partially the offensive line and the offense in general and the strength of schedule is not great either. Yep. Tyrone Tracy, though, 5 fumbles and 5 drops last year. So there's an assumption, right, that assuming Scadaboo stays healthy, he'll be able to Wally Pip Tyrone Tracy. That's just a lot of ifs for me. Right now we're drafting. We're like, oh, this is going to be awesome. And we are thinking about not week 3 when we are in it, right? When we're in week 3 and Scadaboo still hasn't gone off, and he's sitting there languishing perhaps. You're waiting for that post, right now, Halloween doesn't seem so far away. In week 3, even though it is closer, Halloween feels like an eternity away.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And you look at this situation, and I'll move on and make my pick here after this, but Tyrone Tracy, I don't think was expected to be what he was last year. I mean, Devin Singletary was supposed to be the guy, right? Like the Giants wanted
he's
Devin
still getting first-team reps, we should say, in camp.
Yes.
Singletary is?
He was last week. The majority of them.
Really?
Tracy and Singletary were getting first-team reps.
Why?
Field, it's not my job to run the team. I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea.
No quarterback yet for me. We've got 3 picks left, so I would need to get a quarterback at some point, with another one coming off the board being Bo Nix. Love that value there on Bo Nix.
I agree. Love getting
Love
Bo
it.
Nix there. I am actually going to draft somebody that's attached to Bo Nix, because if I've waited on the tight end spot, this is the last guy that I feel comfortable with my starting tight end tier, and that is the joker in this offense of Evan Engram.
Like it.
So I'm going to grab him as my tight end. Not a big touchdown score, but if I had to wait as long as I did, he's a guy that should be probably the number 2 pass catcher in this offense. He'll at least, I think, have the second most targets in this offense behind Cortland Sutton. Marvin Mims may have some really great deep value, and he may continue to come on this year. But right now, with all things being equal, I am in on Evan Engram as a late round tight end, which is why I grabbed him here in the 8th.
Alrighty.
I think Evan Engram will probably flirt with around 80 grabs this year.
Yeah. I mean,
The PPR friendly format.
and honestly, again, when you're trying to be able to just find good value, you can either there gets to a point.
He was in my queue, Daniel. He was in my queue.
I'm trying. What's happening right now is Thirsty Kyle actually has a mirror over your shoulder, so I can see your laptop from behind you, so that I can just wipe out whoever you have in the queue. Since I took Evan Engram, Juwan Jennings comes off the board, second San Francisco 49ers wide receiver, and then Chris Godwin.
Heyo.
The fall ends here in the 8th round. Again, because he's hurt, he will be able to go on your IR spot, which at least is nicer than some of those other guys.
This is a totally reasonable landing spot here for Chris Godwin. Like, good value there by player 5, whoever that is. That is
Q.
Shout out Q.
All right, and then Michael Pittman Jr. There's been a little bit of a talk up about Michael Pittman Jr.
Mike is doing his thing here. Mike Clay is talking about Michael Pittman Jr. favorably, and it's working out. And by the way, another reasonable pick
Already
here
dealing with a groin injury. Michael Pittman Jr.
Michael Pittman Jr. is?
Yeah, after he gutted through injury last season, he's already dealing with a groin injury.
But this is one of those, like, it's training camp, take a week off, and we'll see.
Sure. I mean, he's not a player, I think, that has been the picture of health over his career.
That's a fair statement.
Yeah.
And if he is the possession option in that offense, I feel like Tyler Warren can become the possession option.
I don't know what to think of. I mean, they've got so many pass catchers. And
I'm
I said
talking
this the
about
other
like
day
a
on the show.
possession receiver, though.
The Colts are going to become the next, if only they had a quarterback team.
Yes.
The Broncos were that for a while.
Yep.
Like we've seen that. Like that is just like a trend that sort of rips through the NFL. The Colts are going to become that team because they're going to sit there at the end of this season, if both quarterbacks play to expectation, which are pretty low right now, and be like, well, they have Josh Downs and Michael Pittman Jr. and Tyler Warren and A.D. Mitchell and Jonathan Taylor and some pieces along the offensive line. If only they could get a quarterback. And that quarterback might be.
Stop.
I don't know who.
All right.
A lot of quarterbacks in the draft.
All right, Liz, you ended up coming after Michael Pittman Jr.
Almost on to round 9. Round
You
10.
grabbed your first quarterback.
I did. I grabbed Kyler Murray, which is a strategy I've been employing. I try to keep things loose and different, but I couldn't avoid the position anymore.
You like E. Kyler.
I do. I just like the rushing upside. I'm not, I actually feel like Bo Nix will probably be a more prolific passer this season than Kyler Murray if we're looking at those two quarterbacks who have gone back to back, not, in the queue, but in terms of position.
Sure.
But 29% of Kyler's fantasy points came from his rushing production last year. And if that's going to be a greater point of emphasis, and we're hoping that Marvin Harrison Jr. does not make Fields sad.
Yeah.
Yes.
And in fact, takes the leap we're anticipating.
Speaking into existence.
Did you just make a short joke, by the way, about Kyler? You were doing a little. Okay.
Because he scoots along so fast.
Dachshund of the desert.
His legs look like they're moving super quick. He's a really good rushing quarterback. He's not great.
Kyler?
I don't think. Yeah, which is why he's in this tier of rushing quarterbacks, not like those top
last year
tiers.
in rushing yards.
Which is awesome. If he can find his guy Marvin Harrison Jr., then it feels like his floor is even going to.
Also a really efficient rusher last year, which I appreciated, even though his carries were not as prolific. The amount of yardage he was able to put forward was.
All right.
And by the way, we've got a couple of these quarterbacks. Mike, I thought, eloquently stated this yesterday on Josh Allen, where a couple of these guys who are at the top of the heap for rushing aptitude, like at some point they're going to get phased out. Like the Bills have already begun that process.
Yeah.
The Bills have made it extremely clear. And I'm not talking about like goal line and in opportunities for Josh Allen, but like if they have the ball on the 40-yard line, their own 40-yard line, the idea of rushing Josh Allen has just become less of a priority for them compared to where it was 3 years ago, because these guys are all aging ever so slightly, right? Josh is what now, probably 28 years old, something like that?
Probably.
Somewhere
But
in there.
I mean, I that's a great question, actually. Do you think he's under, how old do you think Josh Allen is?
Josh Allen is 29, actually.
29.
So, wow.
All right. He looks good for being 29.
Everyone looks good at 29.
I know. I'm 29.
What are you talking about?
I wish I was 29 again.
Man,
Come on.
when I was 29, I looked 19.
All right. After you took Kyler, we had Debo come off the
Still
board.
do for the rest.
Javonte Williams,
I was waiting for
Keon
that.
Coleman. Sorry, I should have said something.
Yeah.
That's a bad.
Still looking at
bad
you.
job. I know.
Feeling my
You
cue,
still,
missing
you look
the
like
moments.
you still look like you're 19, Liz
You're
Loza.
blushing. It's awesome.
Keon Coleman, Brock Purdy, Mark Andrews, Tucker Kraft, and then Keenan Allen comes off the board. Keenan Allen ahead of Jordan Addison, ahead of Khalil Shakir, ahead of Jaden Reed. How high do you think is too? I don't want to say too high, but do you think that there's going to be enough volume in this offense, given what you saw last year in his Bears offense? He's another year older. That Keenan Allen can be a nice, maybe wide receiver 4, a flex option for your squad?
I think it's possible. We have, by the way, some breaking news from Adam Schefter that has some fantasy relevance to it.
Uh-oh.
Chiefs wide receiver Rashi Rice is expected to have his disciplinary hearing with the NFL on Tuesday, September 30th. This means that Rice is now likely to be eligible to play the first 4 games of the season before any potential discipline is imposed for his role in a multi-car crash in Dallas during the 2024 offseason. Now, this makes things very interesting because he's going to play the first 4 games.
Yeah.
You get him for a month.
You might lose him for 6 weeks.
Where's their bye?
Their bye is week 12. So let's just say Rashi Rice is suspended 6 games. And I'm using that because it's a baseline tied to the behavior that he is being potentially punished for.
Yep.
You could potentially have no Rashi Rice on week 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You get him back for week 11. You lose him again for week 12. So you could potentially go from effectively week 4 to week 13 with no Rashi Rice.
But then come playoff
But
time.
then he's healthy.
Yeah, so I think what it comes down to with Rashi Rice is like, in some ways, the early season suspension, you can make a case both ways.
Yeah.
Let me make this case here, so we can continue to make picks, by the way. I don't want to hold up the
All right, I'll make a pick, and then after
Yeah,
we're
you're
done, we'll recap all these.
that right now, to me, it's clear that the 6-game suspension at the beginning, let's assume, I'm using that number. Let's work with it for a second.
It's a benchmark, sure.
Okay. If it's 6 games, I would much rather it happen to begin the season than during the middle of the season. Because here's the problem with it happening during the middle of the season is that, like, you might draft Rashi Rice and get him for 4 weeks and be okay. But if you're not great and then you lose him for 6 weeks, you might have to just cut bait entirely, right? Now, if you draft Rashi Rice and he is available for the first 4 weeks and you're 4-0, you don't care. You're just holding tight, right? You're like, all right, fine, I'll get him back in week 11 or 12, whatever we said it was, for 1 game, and then just get him back for the playoffs. If you get him, if he gets suspended for weeks 1 through 6, like if you're 2-4 and you get him back for week 7, you're like, okay, here's the guy to come back and get the season on track. If you're 5-1, you're like, I've got a wagon, and now it's even more of a wagon going forward. So I'd much rather have the clarity to begin the season as opposed to during the middle of the season.
Yeah.
So we will update. I guess we won't update the rankings because we won't know.
I think it's such a level-headed approach that Field is painting here, because part of me is like, oh, if I have Rashi Rice the first 4 weeks, I'm going to start hot. There's no part of me that's like, well, I could, maybe not.
Especially with where you're drafting him right
Yeah.
now, like he will be an unbelievable value. However, if for some reason you don't start hot and all of a sudden you're like, well, now I got to sit out a 6-game suspension, you're basically having to trade that player to someone else.
Who doesn't think they're going to start hot? I mean, it is what, August 14th?
we all think we're going to start hot. That's fair, Liz. That's fair.
So given that I've literally never lost a game in fantasy football, I probably will start hot.
But this is a very cogent, well thought out argument on Fields' behalf, which is why he continually crushes, because he's looking at all of the different scenarios. You and I are bulls in china shops. We're like, oh, it's amazing.
And instead
Fields like, well, hold on, if we're 2-4 and we're da-da-da, then week 12... This is why you'd
always rather have the clarity sooner, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're sort of. I feel like what you just did was Charlie from It's Always Sunny, where you're connecting the dots with the strings on all the different places.
Yes.
Like you've got it all planned out. We know what we're doing.
You know you're going to have to go on a break.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's your summer boyfriend.
Yep.
You have to go on a break when school starts again.
Yep. That's how it works.
I just took Rashid Shaheed and Dak Prescott back-to-back, by the way. So we're down to the final 2 rounds of our mock. Well, we're going to find a way to finish this.
Is that your
mock.
QB1?
Yes, we will.
My QB1, Dak Prescott, which it was him, Caleb, and Justin Herbert as the most notable quarterbacks available. I have Dak ranked higher than those two. So pull the trigger on Dak there, and here we are. Fascinating, though, on that Rashi Rice stuff. I got to think long and hard about how much I adjust the rankings, because what we don't know, like, we're still missing one gigantic variable.
Is that the leader of the NFLPA to figure out like what it's going to mean?
Well, that could certainly influence things, right? It does buy the PA 6 more weeks to potentially have someone in place. I don't think they're going to have their long-term answer in place, but you have to make a decision on how many games you expect him to miss.
Yeah.
So if it is 6 games, we're not going to know until September 30th. But like, what if we get news from Shefty on September 30th at 6 p.m., 2-game suspension?
Then everybody that drafted Rashi Rice just got
pretty good.
Incredible value. Yeah. Is what happened. Man, that's part of the,
That's the guessing game.
It is.
Do you want to play with the variables, or would you rather eschew? We all know what that means, right?
Yes, we know what that means.
Situation and the experiment altogether.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to recap a couple of picks here just for our audio listeners. Also, this is a great time for you to be able to join our YouTube stream, because in case you are not watching on there, you have the draft board that you can look at to see who has come off the board. But since I took Khalil Shakir in the 10th round, we had Jordan Addison, Tajay Spears, Josh Downs, Emeka Egbuka, and then Field, you took Rashid Shaheed and Dak Prescott, and then Austin Eckler, Ramondre Stevenson, Tank Bigsby, and Jaden Higgins comes off the board. And I'm now at a spot where I'm looking at this. There's like one wide receiver that I really feel super comfortable with. I'm going to take this guy because it's a 3 wide receiver plus a flex league. I just want another option, and that's going to be Jaden Reed. He was my guy last year. Week 1 made me look really good, my friends. We all love that Brazil game. It was fantastic, but there's a reason why you don't take victory laps after week 1. Jaden Reed just felt like he was every other wide receiver in that Packers offense. It's just pick a week, and maybe it's his, maybe it's not. That's one of the things.
That's the biggest demerit of Matthew Golden. It's just like the history of the offense he plays in.
Yeah.
And yet earlier when I drafted him, what I'm telling you is that like the stars seem to be aligning to suggest that he's not going to be your typical Packers wide receiver of the past, 3.5, 4 years since Devontae Adams left in free agency.
I think part of that is his skill set, though. It's a more varied skill set. Can be deployed at all levels. So I think he can fill into any spot in which there is an injury, which is why I like him overall, and why your work is so valuable, because if you know a little bit about the players and where they fit into the offenses, which you detail with incredible expertise, you can make better educated decisions.
Did you just snipe me and I'm about to find out?
Yeah, I was going to say, what are you about to do to Liz, or about to Field? Because that was really nice.
You got a booger, buddy. I'm just kidding.
All right, so since I took Jaden Reed, Justin Fields comes off the board, then Jordan Mason,
Liz,
and then Drake May.
On the clock.
Yeah, I kind of hate this. Like, I feel...
What do you need? What does your team need, Liz?
I feel like I need more wide receiver depth. I don't really love any of these options. And these are the moments where I feel like I'm going to end up reaching, because we have a glut of quarterbacks. I don't really need that. I don't really want to deal with the Jacksonville backfield. I don't want to deal with Rashad White here. I don't need a tight end. And so I do like Trey Benson. There's a lot of great late round running backs, and that would be the value, but also the position of need is wide receiver. So I think I'm just going to take Xavier Legette.
I'll say this.
Just do it.
This is just like an example of why we wanted to do a 12-team league and add in a wide receiver. By the time that you go to 12 teams, you're already feeling like your draft board gets a little bit tighter than it does, and now you add in another wide receiver spot, and where we would normally be at in the 10th round with what we do for our ESPN standard leagues, This is a very different crop of players that we are looking at
when you go
here.
from one of these mocks to a 10-team mock, it's like spring break 2010
Yes.
all over again.
Yes, it feels like I'm leaving with a really good
Where
team.
did you
in a
go
12
on
team
spring
leagues.
break in 2010?
I went to Greece, actually.
Oh,
Okay.
I went to a cruise of the
Wow.
Greek islands.
that sounds awesome.
Yeah,
I've
Yes.
never been on a cruise
great.
before. I've never been on a cruise before.
Are you serious?
Never been. They sound cool.
Cruises are fun. I've been on one cruise in my life. It was very fun.
Where was it?
I went down to the Bahamas, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet.
Did not see our friends at Bahamar, but I would have rather had it end at the Bahamar Resort than where it ended. But cruises are a blast field.
The
right.
cruise that I went on with my family a year ago, the Disney cruise, very different from the Greek Isles cruise, more than a decade.
a little more,
previous.
yeah.
I
Yes,
can imagine. All right, so Liz, you ended up going with Xavier Leggett here,
I did.
and then Trey Benson, Travis Etienne, Jaden Blue, Marvin Mims, and then you went with another running back.
I did.
How come? Just the best guy on the board.
That's the best guy
player
on the
available?
board. If I was going to reach, I couldn't do it twice in a row. And I do really like Marvin Mims, but he was already gone. My hope was I could get Leggett and Mims as my final two.
Sure.
Didn't happen that way, so I'll take Charbonnet.
That's fair. Fair makes a ton of sense. I am now back on the board. Christian Kirk and Tyler Warren came off, and this is going to be my last pick. If I'm going to go this route, I guess my favorite player on the board that I feel confident in getting touches and playing time, although there is definitely some uncertainty in this situation, I'm going to go with Jerome Ford. Obviously, there's a lot going on in that Cleveland backfield we do not know about. We're going to continue to watch that, but right now it feels like Jerome Ford at least is going to start the season as the starting running back of the Cleveland Browns. That's what my
Him
expectation
or Dylan
is.
Sampson. We're 3 weeks from the first regular season game, and Quinshon Judkins, their second-round pick, hasn't signed a contract. Very scary situation. Allegations that he was arrested for over the summer. So
Yep.
I would say that expecting anything from him this season is who knows. We
Who
have
knows?
no idea.
Yep.
Obviously, that legal situation is far more important than football.
Agreed.
One pick away. I'm on the clock. Last pick here. By the way, we cruised through this mock draft.
Yeah, we
I'm
did.
doing something. A couple nights ago, I mentioned this guy as my long shot.
Yeah, you did. Wait, are you going with a Titan wide receiver here?
Tighten up.
All right.
Alec Manor, 4th-round pick out of Stanford.
Love it.
I
Field.
love when he does this.
Just
I love
random,
it.
whatever.
How come?
Just
I mean,
something random.
Yeah,
Why
tell
the
us.
draft guy?
Why?
Like, what did you see that made you want to target
He
him?
went to Stanford. He's a huge, fast downfield receiver who was kind of crestfallen. Is that a good word?
It's a great
By his
word.
quarterback
Are you
play at
using it?
Stanford.
Okay.
Yeah.
They did not have Andrew Luck under center these past couple of years for the Cardinal on offense. So the quarterback play kind of limited his ability to be a great player. As I should say, he was a great player who could have been even greater if he had good quarterback play at Stanford. And I just look at this Titans wide receiver room right now. Calvin Ridley should play every snap.
Yes.
Who is a guarantee to play as that second wide receiver in Tennessee? The answer is I don't think anybody is a guarantee. So you're kind of rolling the dice. They drafted a pair, maybe 3 receivers on day 3 to the Titans. Chimere Dike out of Florida, who was big, fast slot, who started at Wisconsin as well. But I think Ale Manor, I just like the player. Cam Ward is an excellent downfield thrower. So I don't know. It's a long shot. It's the last pick of the mock draft. So YOLO.
Why not?
Deep
right?
sleeper, baby,
And by the
right?
way, this is the last pick of our mock draft. Technically, we would have a few more
Yeah, keep
positions
going,
to
yeah.
fill out had this been a longer draft.
I like the YOLO picks.
Me too. All right, let's recap some of our teams then really quickly. Liz, let's start with you. You had the 4th overall pick. Sorry, the 3rd overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and give the people your squad.
At quarterback, I have Kyler Murray starting. At running back, Bijan Robinson and Bucky Irving. Wide receiver, Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf, and DJ Moore. Trio of old heads there. A nice solid floor, high floor veteran core group there. Tight end is Mark Andrews. And then for a little bit of upside at flex, I have Tetaroa McMillan, the rookie.
Love that.
Bench, Tony Pollard, Xavier Leggett, and Zach Charbonnet.
You got 2 Panthers wide receivers.
I sure did, didn't I?
Probably wasn't planned.
No.
However, again, this is one of those things. It's very important. If you're used to doing one kind of a draft, you're like, I've got all 10-team leagues, but then there's one league that I have that's a 12-teamer. Do some mocks because it will inherently be different for you.
Also, I always like to review my mocks and say, okay, if I could change one thing, and I just get to pick one thing. This is my own personal process. If
Yeah.
I could change one thing, what would I change? Where was a mistake I made? What could I use to, what fix could I employ next time to make my squad better?
Love that. Everyone should do that when you look at your
I
draft.
regret taking Leggett instead of Marvin Mims. That would have been the moment that I think I would have been happier with this bench given how everything fell to me.
Okay. Good to know. Love that. Field, let's go to you.
Okay.
You had picked 12.
Yep. Sure did.
Let's reveal your team.
So on the boundaries here, so I got Dak Prescott as my quarterback way late. Devon Achane and Kenneth Walker III are my 2 starting running backs. Puka Nacua, Jalen Waddle, Matthew Golden, my trio of starting receivers. Tight end 3, who was my tight end 1, is George Kittle. Travion Henderson and Stephon Diggs. Plus Rashid Shaheed and Alec Ayomanor. So I would say my wide receiver depth is good enough, but I wouldn't call it dominant by any stretch.
I would say it's good enough, especially given the fact that you're basically employing a wide receiver in the tight end spot. Like that's one of the things to not make sure you leave behind. Like George Kittle is absolutely gonna help float your tight end position the entirety of the season. Yep. All right, I picked number 7 overall. My team. I had Joe Burrow as my starting quarterback, Christian McCaffrey and DeAndre Swift as my 2 running backs. My wide receivers, I don't want to say they're boom bust, but they're big play guys for sure. Nico Collins, Tyreek Hill, and George Pickens. My flex is Isaiah Pacheco with Evan Engram as my tight end. And my bench is some safe guy in Khalil Shakir. I felt like I just needed a guy that's going to catch a lot of targets given how much upside there potentially is in the wide receiving core. And then Jaden Reed and Jerome Ford as my final running back.
Dopp.
I like my team as well.
Is the YouTube chat voting on this right now?
I think the YouTube chat, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to put up a poll. We'll see how long it takes. Maybe we bring it back tomorrow and we'll talk about who had the best team.
When I'm not here, you can talk smack about my team.
No, Liz, we would never do that. We would never do that.
I'll be listening.
Any final thoughts here on Rashi Rice?
For what it's worth right now, the early returns, 48% of our YouTube chat feels like my team is the best team.
That's great.
36 is on field. Liz Loza, chat agrees with you. You should have taken Marvin Mims over Xavier Legette. That's the only thing that held you back.
That's the only note.
That was it. Only note was just that one. Thanks for hanging out with us, kid. It's always fun whenever you're able to be
I'll see you guys in a
person.
week.
Yeah, see you in a week.
I love that I'm leaving, but it's not for so long.
Exactly.
We'll be back together shortly.
We will see you soon, not see you. I don't know.
Not see you later, see you soon.
Yeah, whatever that's going to be. Yes.
Yeah, we'll see you
100%.
soon.
Fields, you and I are going to be back tomorrow. We're going to do a big running back show. I can't wait to hear the nugget that you almost dropped on today's show, but you're saving for tomorrow.
Must-draft running backs. Or I think it might be 10 or 9 or something. But yes, lots of must-draft running backs.
Yes.
Like
we'll dive into
yesterday's
that.
show. Same format, just different position.
Yep. Thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget to love each other. Be kind to yourself, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.